This is EWA Radio, the official podcast of the Education Writers Association, and I'm public editor Emily Richmond. Can kindness be taught, especially to very young learners? The Los Angeles Unified School District is trying to find out using an innovative approach in all of its preschool classrooms. Priska Neely covers early childhood for KPCC Public Radio in Southern California, and she joins us today. Priska, welcome to EWA Radio.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You're talking about almost 30,000 preschool students in the nation's second largest school district. That's a pretty big experiment, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a lot of kids here in LA, and actually 1 million students nationwide are getting this program, Sanford Harmony. And it was really amazing to see it at work in the classrooms, I will say that.
Let's give our listeners just a brief rundown of the premise of the Sanford Harmony curriculum.
Yeah, so it was kind of dreamed up and funded by this billionaire philanthropist named Denny Sanford. And he worked with Arizona State University to develop a curriculum using social emotional learning, which is kind of one of those buzzwords that you hear a lot. But this was aiming to give teachers really practical, hands-on things that they could do in the classroom every day. So the idea is that for 15 to 20 minutes every day, the teachers can have preschoolers circle up and go over different activities. One of them that I saw was these scenario cards that they actually use to have the kids practice looking at different facial expressions, thinking about how they would respond, to practice empathy, that sort of thing. And these are just like little activities that teachers can sprinkle through on a day-to-day basis. And these are developed for K to 5th grade, I think. And LA Unified is just using them for the preschoolers. And this is something that is created by this billionaire philanthropist, and it's donated to school districts. So the school district is not paying for this.
So for listeners who may be thinking, well, aren't preschools already teaching these kinds of skills? What's different about this model? What's changing?
That's definitely a question that was on my mind when I went to visit the classroom. And it's something that I asked this teacher, Rafaela Campos, who's been using it in her classroom for 2 years because they piloted the program. So now it's in all of the early learning centers. That's 86 early learning centers, but she's been doing it for 2 years in her classroom. The difference is having these really tangible things that they can do. And one of the signature aspects of that is this character Z. So this is a little alien. It's a green alien with really big eyes and has a like a Z-shaped antenna that comes out of its head. It's a genderless alien, and the concept is that this is introduced to the children at the beginning of the year as a little friend who's an alien. It doesn't know anything about anything, and it doesn't know how to be a friend, and you have to teach him. So we're going to model that good behavior. It's something that the kids can really latch on to. So with tools like Z, with these specific books that the curriculum has, it's really easy to just have kind of an arsenal of tools that they can pull from with the scenario cards, with the books, with Z kind of plastered all over the classroom. And another thing that they have is this buddy system where kids switch off either every other week or every 2 weeks, and they're partnered together to do all of their daily activities, going outside or, coloring, whatever it may be, with this buddy. And the idea is that no kid is going to be isolated.
Let's listen for a moment as one of those preschoolers, Bella, explains what she's learning from Z and how she feels about Z to her father. This is from your reporting.
He always makes mistakes because it was just an accident.
Because it was just an accident?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We say it's okay.
You say it's okay?
Mm-hmm.
Why? So you could feel better?
Mm-hmm. Because that makes everyone happy.
It makes everybody happy?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the goal, for everybody to be happy?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
What struck me about this clip is the student isn't just having that experience, but she's actually articulating her feelings and then also the feelings that she's presuming Z may be having that are similar. And it's important to her to make Z feel better. That seems like it's an incredible thing for a preschooler to articulate.
Yeah, when Bella was explaining that to her dad, it's like Z is a part of her life. And I saw actually little moments like that throughout the day that I spent there. one of the activities, they're partnered with their buddy and they're making their buddy a card. And I heard all these little things just as they were passing the crayons back and forth. I heard a lot of thank yous and please. And you just heard all of this language that was quite lovely.
Where do the families fit into this instruction in terms of reinforcing what students are learning in class?
So at the beginning of the year, when they started, a letter went out to parents letting them know that there was going to be an emphasis on this year. And, the teacher said that they have really heard a lot from parents about changes that they're seeing in the behavior in terms of really articulating kindness and being empathetic. And there were a lot of parents who were really excited to see that sharing, that empathy kind of develop over the course of the year and that they were really improving. One of the things the teacher said at the beginning of the year is that, you really hear a lot of, I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to share with you. And it's really an adjustment coming to school, like for the first time as a 4-year-old is a real adjustment. So parents were excited to see those changes, and different classrooms kind of all use Z in a different way. And some let the kids actually take Z home, like for the weekend and like a rotation or something. So parents are definitely getting into Z too.
Well, you're right when you say that social emotional learning is something of a buzzword right now, but it's not just about getting these skills into very little kids. They're looking for a payoff all the way up through the secondary years and into adulthood. What does the research show about why this is the right age group to start this work?
The Sanford Harmony curriculum is available in K through 5th grade, but they really have an emphasis on those early years. I was talking to one of the people, from Sanford Harmony, and they were saying our focus is on getting these skills instilled as early as possible so that when they get to the secondary level, they're not having, the cliques and the isolation and the tension in the classrooms, and people are being more respectful because they are thinking about empathy from the very beginning. And there have been a lot of research about the long-term payoffs of investing in social emotional learning early on and how that can actually help in terms of employment and mental health down the line.
We're talking with Priska Neely of KPCC about her coverage of an innovative new program in Los Angeles Unified School District's preschool classrooms. Don't miss an episode of EWA Radio. You never have to. You can find us on your favorite podcast app. And don't forget to take a moment to rate us on iTunes. Your support and feedback will help us grow. Priska, you have an unusual beat in the education world in that you cover early childhood. I wanted to talk for a minute about some ideas for reporters who may be venturing into those classrooms with the very little learners for the first time, and they might feel a little bit intimidated by that. Obviously, we all get overwhelmed by the cuteness, but there's a lot of important things that are happening there. When you walk into one of those classrooms for the first time, what are you looking for?
I would say, visiting preschools, always go earlier in the day because nap time usually gets a little crazy. And if you want to see something in action, the teacher will always want you to come like 9:30. Get down on the ground, wear something comfortable, and get on the level of the kids. That way they will ignore you faster and go back to their own behavior, and they'll more likely to roam over to you if you're like squatting or sitting at their table or whatever. I'm looking for, just the way the classroom sounds. I mean, as a radio reporter, I'm obviously always thinking about the sound. I went after I had, done the bulk of my reporting, and I was talking to the principal, and then I came back into the classroom to take some pictures, and they were eating lunch, and it was like the quietest lunch I'd really ever heard. They were sitting at the table, and they were really just talking to each other and sharing, and there, no one was yelling. It was a really delightful sounding classroom just at lunchtime.
Well, we always like to emphasize that correlation is not causation, but it does sound like what you saw was being influenced by the students' exposure to this curriculum.
Yeah, it really did. It really did seem to. And, that's one of the things when you're looking at early childhood, a lot of what you're hearing is going to be anecdotal. I mean, you can't quantify some of this stuff when you're looking at really little kids. But I think you can kind of feel it in a way and just think about how a child's trajectory could change when they're thinking about relationships, from the beginning.
What will be a win for Los Angeles Unified? How are they measuring this, and what are their goals for figuring out if this is having the intended effect?
Well, a few years ago, they did actually start doing assessments for preschoolers. So having the teachers at the beginning of the year evaluate the kids on motor skills, socio-emotional skills, all that type of stuff, and then do it again at the end of the year. So, there's not enough data yet to actually see a difference, but down the road, there could be, like an actual way to see a big change with this curriculum. But right now, they're just excited about those anecdotal stories. They're excited that there's going to be a payoff down the line for these kids.
And one of the things you do point to in your reporting is that this is symbiotic with the other learning that these kids have to do, that social emotional learning can, make them even better little sponges to absorb the things that they've got to accomplish, and learning their ABCs and getting ready to move up into that kindergarten curriculum.
It's something that is backed up by research, but it also completely makes sense that, like, if you don't have any friends in your preschool classroom, or if you feel ostracized, or, whatever, that you're not going to be able to focus on your learning. It was really awesome to hear, when they were reading the books that were teaching these concepts about friendship, like the kids were into the story and they were gasping and like, oh, that's mean. He can't say that. Oh, no, he should do this. They were very into the plot lines of these stories.
I don't want to play, answer Z. I didn't get to help make the birdhouse. So we're not friends anymore, he said.
That's so nice.
That's not nice. Can we stay friends after something like that happens? Yes, we can, but we have to communicate. Remember, we have to talk.
Was there anything that surprised you about reporting this story?
I guess overall, I was just surprised at how lovely it was. I was not skeptical, but, just like I was saying, like, it's the buzzword. It's like, oh, we're doing this innovative thing now. What is it really going to be? And, this is a star classroom because this teacher has been, doing it for 2 years, and she's awesome. I mean, she was just a delightful teacher who's been in the classroom for like 25 years. This is a school that is majority dual language learners. And the teacher actually said that one of the other kind of social issues in the classroom was that there was like one girl at the beginning of the year who didn't speak Spanish at home. And that was like another one of the weird dividing factors in the classroom that Z and the other aspects of the program helped them get through. But I also really liked talking to the parent. I mean, that was my favorite part of this story, was hearing a parent say, like, what she's learning now is what I learned in management training. That was really powerful to me.
Priska, for our listeners who may be education reporters who may not be full-time on the early childhood beat, what are a couple story ideas you have for them that you'd love to see them do that may be separate from the Sanford Harmony curriculum?
Professional development is kind of one of the biggest things that I think touches on every aspect of the early childhood. So the kind of conundrum between, we've got this brain science, we know that, these early years are so important. So what are the people who are caring for and educating kids early in life? What are they doing? What experience do they have? Okay, so we want them to have bachelor's degrees. We want them to have all of this training, but we don't have more money to pay them. And that kind of push-pull. So I think that is an issue that different counties and states are addressing in different ways. And I think any opportunity to kind of push past a buzzword, trauma-informed care, is also really big in getting that into the early childhood space to kind of improve life outcomes. Sometimes there are school districts or something that are actually doing that in a tangible way. So I think that that's another place. And I guess also in terms of politics right now in California, at least, early childhood advocates have really been lobbying the gubernatorial candidates to make sure that early childhood is on their radar, because it hadn't been for the current administration. So that could be another way to tie it into a political story if that's going on in your area.
Priska Neely is KPCC's senior early childhood reporter, covering issues facing children 0 to 5 and those who help take care of them. Priska, thanks for making time for EWA Radio.
No, thanks so much.
And that wraps up another episode for us. The mission of the Education Writers Association is to strengthen the community of education writers and improve the quality of education coverage. For more than 70 years, EWA has helped reporters get the story right. Have a great week, and thanks for listening.